Hi, I'm Isaac Castro. I'm going to be providing you with my lesson plan um, and all the information you need, all the materials and stuff like that. That should be provided to the students while I'm away for this lesson. So basically, we're just going to be going over the very beginning of Othello, just the first act. So what I want the students to know is the lesson objective is that students should be able to identify false statements and share their ideas with peers in multiple ways and use evidence from the text to support their claims. So we're going to do this in a couple of different ways. And the bulk of it is going to be a Jamboard activity, which is just like a big whiteboard. So let me pull this stuff up. Okay, so this is Jamboard. So Jamboard is a big whiteboard where you just throw a bunch of sticky notes on it. And I like it because you can get students' ideas out quick and it's not super hard to use. So set a background, we'll just do that, right? And then we can just draw a line in the middle. All right, so once you want to start, you just click the sticky note, or you click the sticky note, you write something, and then you put it wherever you want, and you can just drag it everywhere. And you could write as much or as little as you want. So just do this. So it's a lot. Yeah, so you can see that, and then you can make it bigger and stuff like that too, so you can see it better. But basically, students are going to be doing two of these. So one side's going to have claims, one side's going to have supporting arguments, or claims and evidence. And then one of them is going to be for Othello's relations to the real world, and another one's going to be a thematic one. So it'll be heroes and villains. So we'll do like heroic qualities of the characters and villainous qualities of the characters, and then we'll put them on this side, and then we'll provide the evidence on this side. And so just go over the lesson plan real quick. Yeah, so students would have gone over the first act of Shakespeare's Othello. They should have a basic understanding of what the play is about, and they should understand that basically Iago doesn't like Othello. We're going to start off with, well, actually, students need to have the Jamboard link, the Kahoot link, something to write in and something to write with. And then I would have provided them with the PDF of Othello beforehand, whether it's printed out or on the computer. So this is a Kahoot we're going to start off with. I went to the wrong spot. All right. This is the Kahoot we're going to start off with. So it's super quick, super simple, just to get a grasp if they read it, because we have to know if they read it or not. If they didn't read it, try not to put all the students that didn't read it in one group, because it'll kind of defeat the purpose. And they won't learn anything from each other. So just what did I say Othello did Desdemona, he enchanted her. So just basic questions, true, false one, where it takes place, and yeah, it's just super basic. It's not meant to like quiz them, like, oh, did you understand every little part? I just need to know, you just need to know if the students read it or not, and this should be fine for that. And then after that, we'll move into the quick write. So pull up the lesson plan again. All right, quick write, about 3 to 5 minutes. And it's just going to be, the prompt's going to be, what are some interesting segments of Othello? What did you like? What did you dislike? What do you think are some of Othello and Iago's heroic traits? Even though we know Iago's a villain, he has heroic traits. Like he's a good fighter, he's smart, all these things. It's just to get students thinking for a little bit. And then we'll move into the Jamboard activity. You'll split up groups. The groups, I want them to be split up. There are students who are better at learning things in a certain way than others. So one of them is going to be interpersonal communication. We have a lot of those in class. So we want to separate them into, we want them as separate as possible. So try to make one in each group. And that way we have kind of like, not a group leader, but someone who can communicate easily with everyone. And 4 of those students are emerging or bridging, so their English isn't the best. So pairing them with students who are expanding or proficient in English be helpful with their communication, and it'll help everyone communicate a little better. It might also be a good idea to pair them with students who are good at learning through their body and stuff like that, or communicating with their body, who are very expressive with their language. It'll help people communicate if they kind of don't understand something that's happening, or they don't understand this part of the play. They kind of act it out or let them know what it is more easily. I want logistical students all in the same group if you can, just because I think it would be interesting to see, and I'll have the names down for everyone. It'll be interesting to see how they think of certain ways in a logical sense. And then naturalistic students with verbal and linguistic students. It could also probably work well, just because some students are going to be really good at finding out key details in terms of like language that's used, the wording, phrasing, and stuff like that. And other students are going to be really good at applying that to real world situations or things that are like very real that you can touch and feel and stuff like that. So back to the activity, we're gonna go back to the Jamboard. So we just made groups. We're going back to the Jamboard now. So the Jamboard, we're gonna send out a link. Everyone's gonna have access to the Jamboard, so we'll see everyone who put something up, because it's gonna be a shared Jamboard. It's gonna be the bulk of the lesson. It's gonna be about half hour. Walk around, make sure students are doing okay. If a specific group is having an issue, try to give them a section of the reading that they can dissect and pull from, and that way they can branch out into the other parts of the book that they could relate it to. Or try to ask them a question like, okay, so for the relation to the real world, we can do, you can ask them a question about race, because Iago is a very racist character. And we'll be reading the anthology version. I forgot to mention that, the Norton anthology version. And I'll have the PDFs for them. Yeah, I just want them to start to connect dots. So if they're having an issue, try to find a way to help them connect dots to certain things in their life or things they've seen on the news and stuff like that. So to be sure that everyone in the class, everyone's be able to see it. So you'll be able to see what groups are struggling, which ones are prospering, to say. So yeah. And then after that, we're gonna come back together as a class, discuss everything, so we can have one person from each group talk about one thing they found that they liked, that was interesting. If they're missing evidence, try to lead them to the evidence. So things like, if they mentioned something about race, a lot of that stuff's gonna be in the beginning, especially when Iago calls Othello a ram and says his kids are gonna be horses. That's kind of messed up. And then after that, we'll do that for a few minutes, and then we're gonna go back to a Jamboard activity again. So the first section will be, the first time we do the Jamboard, it'll be, the first time we do the Jamboard, it'll be relation to the real world. And the next time we do it, we'll do heroic and villainous traits, or heroic traits of the characters. So then you can do, you know, Iago's fought in war. He's really good at what he does. He's good at his job. He's just kind of mad, you know. Othello is also really good at his job. He's smart, he's strong, he's big, all that stuff. Cassio is super smart, but he's never fought. So there's kind of these little things right there that you can work out with him. And then after that, we'll come back again into class again, discuss stat stuff. It's kind of just a repeat of the last section of the Jamboard. And then at the end, we're gonna do a quick review. We're gonna go around the class. Let's ask students what they learned and who they learned it from, because it's important that they know that they can learn things from their peers as well, not just the teacher or not just a principal or an administrator or themselves or a parent. Like there's people around them all the time that can teach them new things and gain new perspectives on things. If there's time, they could do another quick write, but that's not necessary if there's not. Yeah, look for students to support their claims with quotes. That's super important because it shows that they're actually looking for it. Look for students to use outside sources as well if they can. So outside sources, I'm not directly saying I want them to go find an article and include it in the Jamboard. I'm just saying outside sources in the sense of like things they've seen on the news or things they've seen around the town or in the city or at school and stuff like that, and to relate that in. And yeah, so let's go back to the Jamboard real quick. So just real quick, so it's gonna be like, you can do evidence, and I'll set this all up beforehand. And so you can put one on each side, you can change the color of them, make them pink. So you do this, and then students just start throwing stuff on. They can put pictures, they can upload files, they can draw on it. That'll be pretty hard to draw on it, but if they can, good for them. You can do a little text box. You can just write however you want. You can draw again. And you can do shapes. You can write in the shapes if they want to. It kind of lets them get creative with it, which is really cool. And it's not super hard to use, and it's super simple. I like it because it's like a whiteboard. You don't have to wait for everyone to go up to the whiteboard and write and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we should be good. If there's any questions, email me, let me know. And yeah, basically, I just want to know that the students are learning. Oh, one more thing. We are going to English language learners. I can't believe I forgot about that. And I forgot to go over the standards that we're going over. So the standards, the California Content Standard, it's going to be 10.RA 10.8. It's going to be de-alienate and evaluate the argument and specific claims in a text, assessing whether the reasoning is valid and the evidence is relevant and sufficient. Identify false statements and fallacious reasoning. And for the ELD standards, it's going to be PI 10.2, interacting in meaningful ways and via written English. Collaborate with peers to engage in a variety of extended written exchanges and complex grade appropriate writing projects using technology as appropriate. So I like this one a lot. It's really cool because students have to interact with each other. We can't just have one student doing everything. And it's also cool because it's written English, but it's not super formal. And you can really just write like strong and then let them, and then you could put, you know, the page number here, you know, page whatever. And then when it comes time for them to speak about that point, they can elaborate on it. So it doesn't have to be an extremely well thought out or well written out like paragraph right here. It could be a sentence, it could be a phrase, it could be a word, as long as a student supports it with their evidence and whenever they're called on. And that should be it. So yeah, like I said, if there's any questions or anything like that, just let me know, and I think we should be good. Thanks.